So, quick recap. After kicking all the boys off the team, the girls had to recruit enough female players to play a match. And although they found enough in the end, they also lost one of the 2 longest streaks in the team's history. To complicate matters, Brendan Sander, the coach, was forced to attend a hearing in front of the school board. What exactly happened in this hearing? Well, maybe we should be asking another question. Equality. Is it negotiable? Should it be subjected to compromise or pursued at any cost? Surely pursuit without consideration for others is the very definition of selfishness. If so, it must be questioned. Can one truly fight for their own interests and equality?
As you know, the last few weeks have been difficult, to say the least. Starting a new team meant it was always going to be, and the situation it began in was far from ideal. But I'm sorry to say, it's about to get worse. 3 weeks ago, I attended a school hearing about this all-girls team. Every member of the board was present and, as you may imagine, some of them were displeased. The creation of an all-girls team breached the school's code of conduct. As a result, I was made to agree to a few conditions for the all-girls team to continue.
Mr. Sander, what do you mean?
I signed a sort of contract that lists the rules the team must follow, and if these conditions were not met, the school would reconsider the girls' position in the team.
In the dirt, I'm pretty, but if you're in my way, might cut you till you hurt. 'Cause I can work, I can curse with the best of them. I can run, get it done like the rest of them.
From SYN Media, this is the Graduates Cup podcast. I'm Marin, Buljan, and what you just heard was the beginning of a speech by Brendan Sander. If you recall from last episode, Brendan Sander took part in a hearing with the school board to discuss the all-girls mixed team. Now, it took until April 27th, or 3 weeks after that event, after the end of the all-girls 4th match as a team, before Mr. Sander finally shared what happened that day. On that day, the school placed a few conditions upon the all-girls team. This was to ensure the direction of the team was appropriate. And if found not to be, the school would reconsider the girls' place in the team. In other words, the school would consider whether to just reintroduce the boys or ban girls entirely. For better or worse, these rules Mr. Sander was about to share would be the rules the girls would have to play by, and therefore, the rules that would decide the girls' success in the future to come.
To sum up the agreement, there are 3 main conditions we have to abide by. The first states that there must be a genuine interest from the schoolgirls. We decided that this means the all-girls team must have at least 11 players appear at each match.
April 17th, 10 days earlier.
Mr. Sanders here trying to improve the relationship between our teams.
Alice, where are you taking me?
But I don't understand why he's doing it with the boys. They clearly don't want to be involved with us, and we would rather not get involved with them.
Does that have anything to do with where we're going?
Mr. Colbert is such a clear example. Like, Mr. Sander is here trying to improve that relationship, and it took weeks to even organise a practice game with the seconds coach.
Are we going to confront Mr. Colbert?
No. That whole situation between Mr. Sander and Mr. Colbert made me realise that we shouldn't be getting the support of boys. We should be getting it from the girls.
Oh, okay, so we're recruiting some girls from the girls' soccer team.
No.
No? Then where are we headed?
To the AFL team.
You're going to recruit girls from the AFL team?
Just one. Felicity.
Really? Okay. I wouldn't have imagined that. Like, they're completely different sports. The shape of the ball isn't even the same.
Felicity is someone who changes sports every year, but when the AFLW got big, she jumped straight into it. She's so passionate about women in sport. So, why hasn't she even attempted to see us?
Maybe she just likes AFL.
Honestly, Marin, with the amount of hate on us right now, people don't want to come anywhere near the team. And I feel like if we can't get Felicity on board, we can't get anyone. Oh, there she is. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to use you to recruit her.
Whoa, Alice, sorry, just before you go. You say you can't get anyone if you don't get Felicity. But she's also in a completely different sport. I'm just a bit confused because I've got an interview scheduled with the first girls soccer coach. So, has something happened to the girls team? Have I missed something here? Like, there are still other female soccer players, right?
Marin, I couldn't properly convince one girl to join.
What are you talking about? Of course you did.
Really? The girls' team were convinced to join by Claire. Claire was convinced by Grace, and Grace was convinced by you.
Me?
The only time I convinced anyone was when I mentioned Kyle.
So, you want to do it by your own accord?
Yep.
Alice, I'm sorry. I know that must have been hard to say. But if you don't mind, just one more question before you go. Why this girl? Why is Felicity, in particular, your last chance? Like, what makes her so different?
Well, that'll be because Felicity is Grace's twin sister. Felicity! Meet my associate, Marin. He's been documenting our journey through the Boys' League. I'm sure you've heard of it. I swear, my Instagram subscribers, followers, have doubled since he's been here. Anyway, I was talking to Grace and we were discussing how it's so rare to be in a sport with multiple genders. And that especially with this guy broadcasting us to the world, it's a great chance for women to empower others. So, I was wondering if you would be interested in joining us. You could play alongside your sister, do the whole dynamic duo thing. We could play together, 1 star of soccer, 1 star of AFL, show everyone that girls in all sports stick together. What do you say? Want to play with us?
With the all-girls mixed team? Not interested.
We decided that this means the all-girls team must have at least 11 players appear at each match.
Mr. Sander, we've only got 2 subs at the moment.
If we get a few injuries, that's it. We'd have failed the first rule.
The second condition is that this must be a cause supported by all. To determine this, a vote will occur in the middle of May with every member of the first mixed team and the second's boys team present. During this vote, a majority must agree to continue the all-girls first team.
April 23rd. 4 days earlier.
Funny enough, I do know why they appeared in Flemington that day. Claire came down to our game to convince our girls to play in Brendan's team. Her mum had the car ready the moment the match finished.
So that's what happened. That explains why East Keilor was so tired after the first half.
I'd bet. That was their second game for the day.
Now that you mention it, the first girls team, your team, they've really been hit by the events around school. When Brendan switched to the all-girls format, he had to get his players from somewhere. And I imagine that somewhere essentially drained the original first girls team of players. So, Mrs. Simpson, as coach, how have you coped through all this?
Really well in the scheme of things. But I would love it if Brendan stopped changing direction every few weeks. The man's too active.
Where are you on the ladder right now?
Second at the moment.
Second? With an entire team of girls gone? That's amazing.
Oh, it's really a testament to this current batch of girls. They're on another level this year.
Well, they can certainly hold their own out there.
Oh, it's almost a shame though. If they'd stayed, we could have had a winning streak longer than the boys' team ever did. But I understand why they're there, and I wish them all the best.
You know, after the girls lost one of the two longest streaks in the mixed team's history, Grace told me the boys would get even more upset with them. Do you know if anything's happened since then?
I don't know too much about that in particular. From my understanding, the boys have been rather upset lately, but at the same time, the girls were put into a tricky situation. For them, it was almost a lose-lose scenario.
Yeah, Brendan and the girls had to put a team together and immediately defend both a 2-year winning streak and a 3-year undefeated streak. But I guess Grace was worried that the boys would get more annoyed because they wouldn't see it that way.
It also makes sense now why the boys are particularly upset at the moment. Brendan almost had that 2-year winning streak, and the 3-year undefeated streak would have been up for grabs this week. If, that is, the team hadn't lost on Saturday.
During this vote, the majority must agree to continue the all-girls first team.
You can't let them decide our future. They hate us.
And it's not exactly fair. There's an influx of boys in the seconds team because they've moved from the first. They'll have the majority of votes to start with.
I know. The final condition outlines that the all-girls team must feasibly have a chance to win the league. To determine this, we agreed a victory must occur before their 5th match as a new squad.
Before the 5th match? Well, that means the deadline was today's game.
April 27th. 2 hours earlier.
Oh, did the game just start?
Oh, James, I didn't know you were staying. Marin, this is James. You might know him as Mr. Colbert, or the seconds coach.
Oh, nice to finally meet you. Have the seconds played their match for the day?
Yeah, it was the match before this one. Ended as a 9-0 victory.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I was pretty tired up until the 30-minute mark, but then we just ran away with it. So, Brendan, what's your chances looking like?
Hard to say at this point. The match just begun. But their defence is good. Even last week, we only lost by 1 goal.
Oh, yeah, and what about the midfield?
They're good too.
Is Alice still in the centre?
Yes, centre midfield.
Oh, yeah. Look at her go. She's a star in the making, am I right? No wonder ESV had trouble dealing with her.
They're all quite talented. The problem is up front. We don't really have any clinical strikers. Out of the 13 shots we've had, only 2 of them were on target.
Well, 13 shots over 3 games isn't too great either.
No, but you can spring a decent attack off a good defence.
Well, if that's your plan, you'll need speed. Something an all-girl team would lack.
I think it's more about the speed of your ball transition than physical speed.
If you say so.
In which case, practice makes perfect. If you ask me, they'll only get better from here.
And almost in reply to Mr. Sanders' statement, Avondale scored a goal. 1-0 against the all-girls team. But that wasn't the only surprise to come. As a result of the goal, I noticed someone behind me react. Someone I never expected to see watching the game. Felicity?
Yeah? Who's asking?
Marin, I met you once before with Alice. I didn't really speak. She kind of held the conversation. Actually, I'm not even sure you could call it a conversation. More like a pitch?
About joining the team.
Yes, exactly. And you responded with a resounding no. So, what brings you to today's game?
My footy match finished, so I thought I'd check it out.
Oh, right. Do you know much about the team?
Of course. If it weren't public knowledge already, I'd also have my sister to inform me.
So what do you think of today's game then?
I think they could be performing much better.
What's holding them back in your opinion?
In general, bullies.
Bullies?
Yeah, from the second boys team.
What are they doing?
Well, they're making life miserable at school.
I know this is a sensitive topic, so if you don't want to say anything, you don't need to. But may I ask for an example?
Sure. Do you remember the game against Flemington?
I will honestly never forget it.
Well, why do you think some of the girls got on the wrong bus that morning?
I don't know.
It's because Kyle changed the notice board with the bus timetable. Only those who saw the early version saw the correct schedule.
What makes you think that?
I think I've got it in my bag.
That's the school newsletter.
Open it to page 4. Down the bottom, in the small font.
The school condemns any behavior resulting in the misrepresentation of bus timetables. And you think this is in reference to Kyle?
A message like that in the sporting section a few days after the girls got on the wrong bus. Look, I'm just putting 2 and 2 together, and I don't know anybody else that missed the bus that day.
Okay. At the very least, I think it's likely someone who used to play in the firsts did something shifty.
If you knew the team, you'd come to the same conclusion I have.
Have you told the teachers?
Marin, you just read it off the school newsletter. The teachers already know.
Oh, right, yeah. So, you think this sort of behavior would have changed the girls' results?
I think it would have made the difference.
How so?
Think about it. 1 goal would have made the difference in every game so far. A little more time to practice, less worries, more players. Any of that could have been enough. I think that's more than clear.
But maybe not this game. No more than 10 minutes after the first goal, Avondale Heights scored their second. Not exactly reassuring for Felicity's theory, and unfortunately, it was something that was only going to get worse. Near the end of the first half, Felicity and I joined the conversation between Mr. Colbert and Mr. Sander. What do you think of the game so far, Mr. Colbert?
Well, they're not playing too great at the moment, are they? And judging by their record, I'd say it's hard from here.
I think they can still turn this around.
Honestly, I think if they were going to, they would have in the last few games.
But wouldn't you say the events around school have impacted those results?
Oh, not really. Talent always finds a way to overcome challenges. So perhaps Alice will score something.
And what about the rest of the team?
Well, they would have performed very well in the girls' league.
But they can't in a boys' league?
It's not the same. The boys' league is actually full of students making an effort. But we'll soon find out, won't we?
Well, I don't think we should discount them just yet. They could still win and come back better next week.
Well, that'll be the only way to do it.
To do what?
Come back next week.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? You just said it. Brendan, did you not tell him?
Tell us? Tell us what? Mr. Sander? Mr. Sander, what haven't you told us?
Felicity, you're not even part of the team.
So, have you told the others? Oh, at this point, how would it hurt?
I'll tell them after the game.
What haven't you told everyone?
You're 2-0 down. It's not like it'll change anything at this point in the match. I was actually going to tell the seconds on Monday. I'm sure they'll be relieved.
Really?
The seconds will be relieved, huh? Mr. Colbert, tell me if I'm wrong, but for the girls to continue playing, do they need to win today's match or something?
It's a moot point now, Felicity.
Avenel just scored their third goal. A shot from outside the box.
That makes 2 draws and 2 losses. Where does that put them on the ladder? 7th? 8th?
Okay, I'm heading off. See ya.
And that's half time.
Alright, Brendan. I'm heading off as well. Good luck with the second half.
Brendan, what Mr. Colbert was talking about, is it something you should tell the girls during the break?
They think they've got the entire female sporting world resting on their shoulders. Adding a time limit won't do any good.
On Saturday, the 27th of April, the East Keilor all-girls team were down 3-0, just at halftime. Before this, they'd only copped 1 goal for a total of 2 draws and 1 loss. According to the last of the 3 conditions agreed to by Brendan, a win needed to occur by this game. Otherwise, the school would reconsider the girls' place in the team. Now, up to this point, Brendan knew of this for 3 weeks and decided not to tell the team. He stated that he didn't want to add to the girls' worries. And in a way, I understand that. People tend to be less nervous when there's less on the line and therefore make fewer mistakes. But at the same time, you could argue that during important matches, people push themselves to achieve more. What I'm trying to say is that I don't know what the impact Brendan's decision here ultimately had. Perhaps it helped. Perhaps it didn't. But with this in mind, there might be another reason Brendan held on to that information. Have a listen to a conversation between myself, Brendan, and eventually Felicity near the end of the game.
Worst comes to worst, I'll twist the rules to our advantage.
What do you mean?
Why do you think I've been organising practice matches with the seconds team? I've been trying to give the boys an opportunity to see the girls' talent for themselves.
And why does that matter?
Because we need their support to win the vote.
The vote?
Right. If we can't win this game, the all-girls team might be disbanded.
Disbanded? Like, as in, it won't exist anymore?
But if that happens, I'm going to conduct a vote beforehand about whether we should continue the all-girls team. If we can get a majority of the first and second squads to support this despite remaining winless, then really, who would break us up?
Okay, that still means you have to convince the boys to vote in your favor. And I'm not sure if you've noticed, but they haven't been particularly happy since you kicked them off the team.
Yeah, I think I approached it incorrectly before. I put the focus on the girls when really, I should have spent more time describing the issue. Like, do you know what the FIFA Secretary General said in response to a question about equal pay in the World Cup?
No.
He said, "That's not even a question I'll answer because it is nonsense. We're still another 23 World Cups before potentially women should receive the same amount as men."
The FIFA Secretary General said that?
He said it in 2014.
That's only 5 years ago.
If in 2014 we were 23 World Cups away before FIFA believed we should discuss equal pay, want to know what year that would make it? 2107. It would take until the year 2107 before we even get a discussion.
That's almost like 100 years away.
Almost. Now, honestly, even if someone believes women don't deserve equal pay because they can't generate the crowd at the moment, I don't think many would say we should wait almost 100 years before we're allowed to have a discussion on the topic. But that's the attitude of the leaders running our game. And people don't know that. They don't understand just how bad the system is. So that's how I believe we win them over. We refocus their attention on the issue.
Essentially, you're trying to look like the good guys.
Sort of. But also, I think for the boys, the girls have been involved in one too many controversies. Like kicking the boys out of the team, barely getting 11 players, losing both streaks. So we need to shift their focus away from all that. Stay out of that kind of spotlight and refocus on why the girls are here.
You're basically saying you want to maintain a good image.
We need to, if we want to win the vote.
Mr. Sander, we should maintain a good image, but if we can, I would like to try one thing.
What's that, Felicity?
I imagine most people look at us and think they're trying to prove girls are just as good as boys. If I could, I'd rather them think, why does it matter? You wouldn't remove a girl's Olympic gold medal just because the boys' gold was faster.
That's a good point, Felicity. We should reframe the issue around our values rather than something that's boys versus girls.
Exactly.
So you decided to continue watching?
Yeah. Thought I should see the final score.
Fair enough.
India, come on. Let's get you off the bench.
That's the last sub coach has.
80 minutes in is probably the time to use it.
You know, even people in the seconds dislike Kyle.
Yeah?
He's mean and selfish and we're always the ones that cop it. It's not fair.
That most certainly isn't.
Yeah, I'm just saying that even if the boys dislike us, some still dislike Kyle more. And I think we could use that to our advantage.
Hey, Felicity. Grace plays in defense, right?
Yeah.
So, why is she moving forward?
Grace, get back in defense.
If you're losing, you might as well go forward. Don't you think, Mars? Don't you think, Mars? Mars?
Grace? Is that you? Have you and Felicity swapped places?
Well, what were we supposed to do? Wait back and let them destroy everything?
Oh God, Grace, you cheated.
Kyle plays unfairly to the point where even his own teammates second guess him, but we have to stop playing.
Mr. Sander needed the girls to look good. That was his plan.
The plan's no good if we can't play anyway.
No, you don't get it. The boys will know you cheated.
Kyle is the real cheat.
Exactly. You said it yourself. The boys were starting to support you over Kyle because of his controversial actions.
Why does that matter?
Mr. Sander was planning to have everyone vote on the all-girls team. You needed their support. That was going to save you.
Save us? We'll be the ones to save us.
So you threw it all away for some fresh legs?
Fresh legs that can run the ball up.
And she was right. Felicity could run. And she did, with the ball straight up the side, cutting in past the defender. And from the edge of the box, she stopped in front of two more, kicked, and... it's in the goals! It's in the goals!
Good work, Grace. 3-1. I didn't know she could shoot like that.
She's picked up the ball and gone straight back to the centre. That's the first goal the all-girls squad had scored. Ever! What the heck? She's good.
Didn't you know? Every season she plays a new sport, and every season she plays in the first team.
The opposition passes back. Felicity Grace runs forward, almost ignoring the ball. Alice comes right behind. They pass back further. It's a little short. Alice intercepts, catches them completely off guard. She's got it. She runs forward and kicks it towards the box. Grace is there. Grace half volleys. It's in! Holy crap! 3-2. It's 3-2. A flipping half volley and they're straight back in it.
Come on, let's go. Come on.
Grace has just grabbed the ball and sprinted right back to the center.
Get back. Everyone, get ready to attack. Defense, maintain a high line. Alice, sprint at them. Grace, you've got 5 minutes.
We're almost there. Come on, girls. We can't let this chance slip away.
The Graduates Cup is a SYN Media podcast and could not have been created without the help of Creative Victoria, the Community Broadcasting Foundation, Rachael Alford, Madeline Plum, Pat Chirico, Benji Groenewegen, Shelley Dunlop, Lindsey Green, Kristel Roxas. So, it's been a while since the last episode. A long while. So long, in fact, that the new A-League season has begun, and the W-League season is about to begin. So, super pumped about that. Honestly, these lengthy delays weren't what I originally planned to do. But with it comes good news. The remaining episodes will now be released weekly. Woo! So tune in next Tuesday and every Tuesday after that until we're done. If you want to keep up to date with the Graduates Cup podcast, you can visit us at our Facebook page, The Graduates Cup. You can also visit us at my own personal YouTube channel, Marin Nation. That's Marin Nation, where we'll be uploading subtitled versions of the Graduates Cup podcast. Thank you for listening, and until next time.